What's up, YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing my preview for the Georgia Bulldogs 2023 schedule. But if you haven't, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And by doing so, it really helps out my channel, and it helps me grow as a content creator. Well, Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs was able to go undefeated last season and went back to back. It's very hard to do in this sport. But Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs was able to do it, and they did it in a dominating fashion for the most part, guys. And I was looking at their 2023 schedule, and they could be tasked. Can they do it? Again, can they three-peat? And I was looking at their schedule, and I'm gonna go through it with you guys. The first matchup, September 2nd, is against the UT Martin Skyhawks. Game Georgia should win. That's at home in Sanford Stadium, sorry. And Georgia can name the score in that matchup. Georgia's going to be breaking in a new quarterback. In my opinion, I think it's going to be Carson Beck, but they still got Brock Vanderbilt and Gunnar Stockton, though. Gunnar Stockton, he's a really talented player, so he can make some push for some playing time. But I think it's going to come down to Brock Vanderbilt and Carson Beck, and I think Carson Beck is going to be the guy. But I know Kirby Smart is going to give all the quarterbacks the opportunity, to prove themselves. But I'm thinking it's going to be Carson Beck. This will be his game to step up, and be the guy for the Georgia Bulldogs. Bulldogs no longer have Stetson Bennett there, a guy that's been there for a while, and two-time back-to-back champion. Guy that was a walk-on, and you don't see that often in this sport, guys, where a guy that's a walk-on can come in and win two national championships. So he supplanted his, self in history for the Georgia Bulldogs. Is going to be a legend for them. But now it's going to be a new sheriff in time at the quarterback position, and the Georgia Bulldogs going to be tasked with figuring out who that guy's going to be. But like I said, I think it's going to be Carson Beck. And I expect him to get the start in this matchup against the UT Martin Skyhawks. Next matchup against the Ball State Cardinals. Another matchup to, get the quarterback situation, settled down. Like I said, Kirby might start another guy in this matchup, to see how he plays. Maybe Brock Vanderbilt will get the start, But definitely going to have to figure out who the guy's going to be, Mike Bobo is going to be charged with doing that, figuring out he's more comfortable with at the calling the plays. And it's going to be interesting because the next matchup on September 16th is going to be against the South Carolina Gamecocks. I'm going to go back to that matchup, guys. Georgia beat them 48-7 last season, and South Carolina just wasn't able to do anything in that matchup against the Georgia Bulldogs. Early on the season, last season, Georgia looked really, really good offensively, but towards the middle of the season, they kind of struggled, offensively. But that defense was still really, really good. And long as Kirby Smart is there, that defense is going to be on point. So whoever be the quarterback this season for the Georgia Bulldogs, they're going to be leaning on the defense to play lights out. And I think this defense for Georgia is going to be even better than it was last season. That's kind of hard to say because last season, everybody thought Georgia was going to take a step back defensively, but they played really, really well for the most part last season, especially after losing so many guys to the draft in 2021. But South Carolina, they're losing some guys offensively and defensively, but Spencer Rattler's there still. I think he's going to want to try to do something against this Georgia team that they lost so badly last season. Kind of embarrassing loss for them last season, and that was at home. Georgia, Georgia went on the road. Georgia went on the road to William Bryce Stadium and beat them like that. So I expect, Georgia to be on point this matchup, but South Carolina got to go to Athens and they got something they want to prove against them. So they probably want to have a better outing against the Georgia Bulldogs. Next matchup for Georgia, the UAB Blazers. Like I said, another matchup. Georgia should be able to handle the Blazers. Should be able to beat them. Name the score, get some guys off the bench, get them some reps. Georgia's been really good at rotating guys and getting guys playing time. So they're gonna probably, I'm pretty sure they're gonna do that in this matchup. Play whoever the starter is. Like I said, get some more playing time for the other quarterbacks to rotate. Cleanup game. Then Georgia goes to Auburn, Alabama, in Jordan-Hare Stadium against the Auburn Tigers. First-year head coach Hugh Freeze over there. Auburn has got a new offensive coordinator and defense coordinator, and Philip Montgomery and Ron Roberts, two guys that's been in the college football world. No, really good veteran guys at their position. It's going to be a tough matchup, for the Georgia Bulldogs. It's always a tough matchup against Auburn. Auburn's one of them teams that they can surprise you. When Auburn's good, they're good, and it's just something about playing them in Jordan-Hare. I don't know what it is. It's difficult for my team, the Alabama Crimson Tide, to beat them, they're in their stadium, but they have a history with Georgia and giving Georgia problems as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Auburn has Robbie Ashford. I expect him to be the guy offensively for them, a guy that needs to work on his passing, but definitely a run threat. He's going to have to do more than run, though, against this Georgia defense that he's going to face against. But it's going to be interesting to see what Hugh Freeze does offensively with Philip Montgomery at developing Robbie Ashford, And I'm not sure if Auburn's going to dip in the transfer portal to get a more experienced quarterback. But look out for the Auburn Tigers, And that's going to be a game the Georgia Bulldogs going to have circled on their schedule. Last year, Georgia beat them 42-10. So Auburn was not in the matchup offensively, couldn't do anything. Auburn was a bad team offensively last season. And the Georgia Bulldogs going to be tasked with going on the road to Jordan-Hare. That's going to be a tough matchup. And then October 7th, the Georgia Bulldogs play the Kentucky Wildcats at home. Beat this team last season. They beat them 16-6. A matchup where I thought Georgia was going to be able to run away with it, make it not look so close. But, Georgia kind of struggled, offensively in that matchup, but nevertheless was able to get the game. Like I said, it was a road game for them, went on the road, but this year they host them at home. So I expect the Georgia Bulldogs to have the advantage there. And by this time of the season, Georgia probably going to be clicking on all cylinders offensively. Georgia's known to having good O-line, so I expect that O-line to be really good. They always had a good run game with the running back, so Georgia's going to be fine, I think, in this matchup. But they still got to go on, still got to host the Kentucky Wildcats. And then, of course, they go on the road and they play against Vanderbilt on October 14th. Team of Vanderbilt, shot some teams last season, but still Vanderbilt, definitely a team that doesn't have nowhere near the talent that Georgia is going to be bringing to them in their stadium. So I like to think Georgia's going to win that matchup handedly, but can't sleep on Vanderbilt because they shot some teams last season. So then Georgia gets a bye week, October 21st. Good bye week, because in their next matchup, they always get this bye week before this matchup. On October 28th, they play the Florida Gators, and they got to play in the neutral site in Jacksonville, Florida. And Florida Gators, we don't know what they're going to look like offensively. We don't know what they're going to look like defensively as well. Bringing in a new defensive coordinator in Austin Armstrong. Florida was able to get him from us. He was going to be our inside linebackers coach. He's going to be Florida's now defensive coordinator. He's since said that he's going to be multiple on defense. So it's going to be interesting what he can do with this Florida Gator defense. But it's going to be good to see, can Georgia offensively be able to put up the points they was able to do last season. Georgia was very efficient last season. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I expect Georgia to rely on the run a lot this upcoming season until the quarterback can get acclimated. But by this time, I think whoever's the quarterback is going to be settled in. But huge matchup against the Florida Gators. Always must-watch TV. And definitely a big game to watch in the SEC. Then Georgia hosts the Missouri Tigers, a game they struggled with last season. Missouri was leading the game. Missouri was only able to kick field goals in that matchup. So, the Georgia defense did its job. It's just the offense wasn't really, clicking in that matchup. And I made the game look very, very tight, but I expect Georgia to get that fixed by this time. And they're going to definitely want to show what they can do, offensively in this matchup against the Missouri Tigers. Then Georgia plays in a matchup with a team they normally don't play, and that's the Ole Miss Rebels. That's going to be a huge matchup, guys, on November 11th. They host the Ole Miss Rebels, so they're going to have them at home, but Lane Kiffin and them are going to travel. Lane Kiffin is one of the great offensive minds in college football. The Georgia Bulldogs defense is going to have to be clicking on all cylinders because Ole Miss is going to have, in my opinion, I think, Spencer Sanders is going to be the guy, the Oklahoma State quarterback. This guy is a beast of a player, and him joining the Ole Miss Rebels was a huge pickup for Ole Miss. They still have Jackson Dart. They got a 3-quarterback battle going on over there, but I expect Spencer Sanders to be the guy. Watch out for Ole Miss Rebels. And they also have our former defensive coordinator and Pete Golden over there. It's going to be interesting to see what he does with that defense, guys. Believe it or not, a lot of us Alabama fans didn't like Pete Golden, but one thing we can say, we did have a top 15 defense while he was there. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does with Ole Miss. I think he's going to greatly improve their defense. And like I said, offensively, Ole Miss is one of the great teams. So Georgia Bulldogs going to have their hands full with their Ole Miss offense, but they host them at home, so that's going to be an advantage. Then November 18th, huge matchup. Georgia goes on the road to Knoxville, Tennessee. The Tennessee Volunteers are going to have this matchup circled on their schedule. And, Georgia gave Tennessee their first loss last season. So Tennessee is definitely going to be game this matchup. Georgia's going to have to bring everything they got, because I really do believe Tennessee is going to have an advantage in this matchup. Not only that it's being at home, but at the quarterback position. They have Joe Milton, a guy that stepped up for Hendon Hooker when he got hurt. When he came in, the offense still looked really, really good. This guy plays with swagger. He knows what he has to do. And it's going to be interesting, guys. And like I said, even though he's going to be a freshman, Nico, one of the best quarterbacks coming out of high school, he's going to be the quarterback number 2. And if by this time Tennessee has their offense clicking, it doesn't matter who's the quarterback. The way Josh Heupel runs that system, it's really, really fast ball. They try to get you out of alignment, not let you get set. They're really, really fast and efficient. So Georgia Bulldogs, tough matchup against Tennessee, but I can't wait to watch that matchup. I believe Kirby Smart going to have his team ready. Josh Heupel's going to have his team ready, and that's going to be must-watch television. Then, of course, Georgia plays against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, a team that's been struggling. They have since had a new coach come in, but that's a matchup where I expect Georgia to be able to handle that matchup, and get ready. If Georgia get through the schedule, like I said, they host Ole Miss at home. They host, let me see, who else? They host, South Carolina. They got South Carolina at home. They host Ole Miss at home. But they, like I said, got to go to a neutral site with Florida Gators. Got to go on the road to Tennessee. That's going to be tough, But in my opinion, out of all those matchups, got to go on the road and play Auburn. To me, the road game at Auburn and the road game at Tennessee is going to be some huge matchups that Georgia's going to have to overcome. And then, of course, neutral site game against Florida. So if Georgia can get past those 3 teams, in my opinion, I think they got the rest of the schedule easily. And Georgia can definitely be back in the SEC championship, guys, and play whoever represents the West. And could potentially get back in the playoffs and potentially go 3-peat. It hasn't been done. And going to be interesting what the Georgia Bulldogs can do, guys. Like I said, last year, a team, nobody expected them to go repeat. And now they're going on trying to get a 3-peat. But could they do it? It's going to be interesting. But they got a really, really good schedule. In my opinion, 3 tough road games. They get past that, they're going to be right there in the playoffs, guys. But what do you guys think? Leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. And once again, guys, if you haven't, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll definitely be back with more college football content. Thanks, guys, and roll tide.